Productions.
What does God look like? What do you see?
We're solar-powered biological AI.
Wait, what?
These ancient adversarial entities, I think it's the very same ones that rebelled against God and were cast out.
They were sent here to guide us in antiquity, and they took advantage of that and just masqueraded as gods. What's going on, everybody? Good evening, and welcome back to the Greypilled podcast. I am your host, the Mississippi Mystic, the sound scientist, Elohim etymologist, all those things. Jules, welcome back. Got a banger episode lined up for y'all tonight. Go ahead and like the stream. I don't give a shit if we just started. Like it and repost it, share it with your friends, maybe not your family. But I am joined tonight by Dana from rottingjewels. What's going on, Dana? Thank you for joining me. How are you doing?
I'm good, Jules. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I am good. It's almost the weekend, and yeah, it's time. You know, it's funny because I just made a Calendly, and so I'm not used to people booking with me during the week. Like, I never do shows besides when I was doing Already Dead. Like, I just never do shows during the week. So this is new for me to get off work and sit down with people, and I'm glad that it's happening though, because usually I try to avoid it because I'm like, oh, I'm tired, and you know, I'm not at 100%. But you know, like you said just a minute ago, you got to bite the bullet, power through it sometimes. You know. So anyway, thank you for joining me tonight. You want to kind of tell, this is your first time on this show. I know we met when you came on Already Dead. Shouts out the boys over there. But you want to kind of tell people who you are and what you do, a little bit about your show?
Sure. So I have Rotting Jewels on YouTube, also Instagram, even though I'm not that active over there anymore. And then I have my podcast, What is the Process, which is on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen. And primarily, I am known for my process research. That is what I focus on quite a bit, even though I do dabble in other topics like Scientology adjacent things, including Candace Owens and the Turning Point, Charlie Kirk nonsense. That has taken up a lot of my time as of late, and some things that are less common with the Epstein stuff. But it is all like bringing Epstein into my process research. That's, you know, kind of what I do. I'm always looking at things through a process lens.
I mean, yeah, I've kind of learned, if you're looking into the parapolitical and these secret cults, that, I mean, it's kind of something you have to do. I mean, I haven't found too many of them that aren't affiliated with the Process Church, to be quite honest with you, or someone directly a member, you know, like probably a high-ranking member, or someone who's a figure in the public, like a celebrity or a musician or somebody that they have in there. So what, like, how long have you been like, I don't know, it feels like you're I don't know, it like you're chasing monsters or something. I don't know, you're like Van Helsing of satanic cults.
I mean, I didn't start out with the process. So on Instagram, I used to do like these really ghetto short videos where I would just read segments of Programmed to Kill because I read that back to back with Aberration in the Heartland of the Real and had a complete like mental psychotic breakdown. And so I did the
As one
PTK
does.
videos and then I came onto YouTube and was kind of thrust into the ex-Scientology influencer scene, so to speak, on there. But I got into the process because I was laying out the argument that I believe that L. Ron Hubbard is the late Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Absissimus Michael Aquino's father. And in that timeline, I knew I was going to come across the process. And when I got to the process, I realized that wow, everybody's just out here lying about things that can be verified if you actually go and dig. And that's what I started doing. And it just kind of has taken over my life.
Yeah, no, that sounds very interesting, to be honest with you. And I know you've had like people from these groups like try to threaten you or like fuck with you online, right?
Oh, yeah. I've also had them fuck with me in real life.
No
I've had
way.
them, yeah. When I went to
Like,
Princeton
stalk you
two
and stuff?
times. Yeah, 2 times when I went to Princeton, yeah, and it could be related, it could be unrelated, I just think it's really, really weird that when all of this stuff was going on, Dougie Lucian of the Satanic Temple, when I was living in Georgia,
That dude's a fag.
happened to drive down to Georgia to adopt a German Shepherd, even though he lives in Massachusetts, so I thought that that was weird, that was all going on at the same time, but no, I mean, people tried to run me off of the road 2 times. One time it was on a bridge going into Princeton, and it became so chaotic while we were on the bridge that other cars started honking and kind of looking at this person because they were trying to push me into the wall of this bridge that we were on going into Princeton.
Oh,
It was
shit.
very suspicious. So, yeah, I mean, the process people are everywhere. But yeah, I mean, and then they do the fake and gay online gang stalking, doxing, harassment, making threats, threatening curses on me that they're going to turn me into a frog. And I'm just like, do it.
Get the fuck out of here, really?
Oh, yeah, there's an old
Wow.
voodoo witch that's, she joined in the New Orleans faction, back in the '70s, and she's still a member today. It's in William Sims Bainbridge's private Facebook group, but yeah, she was, threatening to turn me into a witch.
I mean, if you take a look
Or a
at the
frog.
go yeah, if you take a look at some certain texts like the Goetia and some like other books on magic, there's spells to turn yourself into a creature and turn other people into one. So you never know what weird shit people are into. Did you say that L. Ron Hubbard is the father of Michael Aquino?
This is my theory that I firmly believe, and until proven otherwise, I have laid
Sell
out
me
a
on it
very sh
because I'm very in. First, guys, go subscribe to Dana's channel. Are there any plugs that you want to do before we get the show started, or I mean, you want to let
I
people
mean,
know?
if people wanna go, they can go look, it's fine, or go check out the podcast, it's cool.
Okay, just making sure. But yeah, no, please enlighten me on that.
Oh, no, I haven't talked about this in a really long time, you're putting me on the spot.
Well, you don't have to if you don't.
So it's Oak Knoll Naval Hospital, which is where L. Ron Hubbard tells the story of how he, basically was injured in the Navy. He was working for naval intelligence, but he just changed his jacket and put a couple pins on his lapel and he pretended to be a doctor. And this is where he's experimenting on people in this hospital, figuring out Dianetics, right?
Mhm.
Well, this hospital ends up turning into the Presidio. This is the same place where the Presidio is. So when you look at the timeline on Michael Aquino's death certificate, Aquino, I don't know. People always sit here and give me shit about how I say his name. I don't care. On his death certificate, the father is listed as Michael Aquino Sr. There's no information given about the dad, though. Mom, Betty Ford Aquino, very sus lady. However, with the dad, I think that there is a good argument to be made in the timeline of when Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard were doing the Babylon working. Jack Parsons documents in Liber 49 that L. Ron Hubbard left for a couple of days. If he was gone during that time, and Mom, who knows? She could have been hooking up with Hubs. There's no proof of this Michael Aquino Sr. until after Michael Aquino is born. You don't see any records of this dude until after Aquino is born. And it's odd because Aquino and his mom spend a lot of time in Utah with this really powerful Mormon family who he ends up marrying later in life. That's his first wife. She was the first Mormon satanic priestess.
That's
so
crazy.
Yeah, it's a total clusterfuck. And so it would be easy to say that his father is just senior. We have no records of dad. Nope, nobody knows who dad is. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a listing in the papers of them getting a divorce. He had some sort of business. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But in the timeline of the days specifically that L. Ron Hubbard was gone during the Babylon working, it matches perfectly with the timeline of Michael Aquino's birthday. Perfectly with that timeline. Yes, it does. To a T. It gives just enough room for a couple days of discrepancy because obviously not every woman has 9 months specifically, right? But it falls into the window of a normal birth timeline. Because I don't think that, Hubbard he doesn't say where he went. He didn't tell Jack where he went. Obviously, I think at some point he went and met up with Marjorie Cameron because Marjorie Cameron was also working for Naval Intelligence. I think that they were preparing to run, this operation on Parsons because I think that is what they did. I think that he was a mark, and I think that they were sent in there to kind of not shut everything down, but kind of fuck up his life. And then obviously we see what happened with him. But in regards to the Babylon working specifically, I do believe that Michael Aquino is the product of that whole situation.
He's a moonchild.
Yeah, I think that he's the moonchild, but I think that he was copulated with Betty Aquino.
Who's Betty?
That's Aquino's mom.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his actual mom. She's a real sus lady. The family history there is very strange. His grandfather, he was, I believe, a famous surgeon, and allegedly he was shaving and accidentally slit his entire throat with a razor and ended his life that way.
Right,
that happens. Totally normal, right? Totally normal. And Michael Aquino and his mother, before the Presidio scandal happened, they got busted because one of the properties that they owned, which was their residence at one point, there was a phone sex operation being run out of that place. And obviously, Aquino's connections, he made that disappear for him and his mother. So I'm just saying there's no proof that Hubbard's not his dad. And I think when we follow their career patterns, and they're both kind of these architects of mind war, so to speak, right? Because Dianetics is the science of the mind. It tracks. That's all I'm saying. Not telling anybody that
probably
they
a
have
lot
to
in
believe
common
me.
with those two books. I'm sure I haven't looked at either, but I'm sure somebody has done a comparison. I don't know. I think you're probably right, considering that all these religious groups. You mentioned the Mormons, and we have Scientology, and it doesn't surprise me that they're getting together behind the scenes and planning out these rituals for something like this to happen, to birth somebody. And then Aquino becomes, the high priest of the Temple of Set. Right. So it's just, he's just a Nepo baby, right? It is carrying on the great work that his father was doing. So that would make sense.
In my opinion, I think so. I mean, I think that part of him joining the Church of Satan was to run a massive disinformation campaign against Anton LaVey to shitcoat everything that Anton LaVey did, because now everybody just thinks that Anton LaVey was, this total fraud. And I'm not saying that he wasn't a fraud or a con man, but he was still a deviant individual. And
Mhm.
so Aquino comes in, and then he's also got Xena and Nicholas Schreck, who join the Temple of Set. They leave the Church of Satan, follow him. They're also shitting all over Anton LaVey. And then we have Nicholas Schreck now taking up the mantle with his, oh, I'm a Buddhist. Sorry, Buddhism is the Satanist retirement plan, okay? But we have Nicholas Schreck out here basically saying the same thing about Aquino, that he was a, just a total fraud and a con man and this and that. And it's, why are you guys shitcoding this stuff? It's documented what these people
Yeah.
believed in. It's
People
like,
have the
sorry.
receipts, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're trying to rewrite history. You're trying to do revisionist history, and I don't buy it. It's just not how these things work.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's something about that. Especially, I mean, you someone like that, I don't know. I just can't trust anything they say, because the things that they were, I mean, regardless of where they are now, being a Buddhist or whatever, the things that they were once implicated in. So
Nicholas Schreck's full of shit.
yeah, he's pretty gay. Even his old interviews, he tried. I mean, that whole werewolf. What was it? The order
Radio
of
Werewolf.
yeah.
He's a Nazi, and he changes his story from, it was these gay guys that cut off his ear because he was out plastering these, anti-gay posters in downtown LA. Then he changed it to, these African Americans attacked him. Like, he changed his story so many times, and it's like, just admit that you were making fun of gay guys and you got beat up by a couple of homos and you're embarrassed about
Which
it.
makes
And that's
you a
why
homo.
you don't have it.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So how is Scientology and the Process Church linked? Where does that come in?
That's where they come from.
Really?
So yeah, that's where they come from. So in the story of the process, what we are told is that this original group was Robert and Marianne. And, there's some discrepancies there as far as who joined first. But according to the FBI and INS, either Robert or Marianne, but they seem to lean more towards Robert, that Robert was actually L. Ron Hubbard's right-hand person within the church at that time. Now, what we're told in the process timeline is that they started this group called Compulsions Analysis. This is pretty common lore that's out there. However, I have all the official filings, all the official business documents. Compulsions analysis was never a thing. There's no proof of it anywhere. So, in my opinion, what I think is that at that time, that was a course that was being taught or offered within Scientology. And they just kind of gave that narrative to it of, oh, this is how we started. It's still giving a nod to Scientology by calling it compulsions analysis. They're analyzing your inner compulsions, right? And as the story goes, they decide that they're going to break away because Marianne said that Hubbard was just creating a bunch of little Hubbards and she's smarter than everybody. Well, what they do is they leave, but they also take the e-meter. They just change the name of it to the P-scope. That's all they do. It's the exact same thing. They're using it for years. Yeah, they're using it for years. And there was never any punishment against them for using Hubbard's tech or technology. They were declared suppressive people in December of 1965. Marianne and Robert specifically were declared. Now, here's the issue with that, is that the Church of Scientology, their old CIA, the Guardian's office, there are internal documents from that time that there is a policy that someone can be declared a suppressive person or a defector to protect their cover while they're running an operation outside of the church. This is what I think was being done with the process. I think that they started the process. Hubbard was okay with it. He said, go ahead and take the e-meter, do your thing. It's fine. They run off to Mexico because they didn't just go to Stuhl for no reason, right? So they're declared and then they go to Stuhl and they say that it's this vision that they have. That's a lie. The reason that they left was because the British Medical Association was threatening to investigate them and shut them down because they were forcing people to sign waivers that if your mental health was affected negatively, you couldn't come after them. Okay, so that's why they left. They like to paint this whole magical story of why they went to Mexico. That's not the case. Now, they do go to Mexico, they're there, then they come back to London and they decide that they're going to really get their PR tightened up as far as, oh, the cloaks and we're goth and whatever. Like, I'm down with the fashion, it's fine. But then they decide to go to America, and it's not until the Manson crimes that the process and the process church of the final judgment are added to the groups of suppressives, specifically squirrel groups, because that's what Hubbard calls groups as a whole versus just suppressive people like Marianne and Robert in 65. We have this group declared as a problem group after Manson. But who else is added to that list at that exact same time in that exact same announcement? The Church of Satan. Why would the Church of Satan be added unless we're talking about Susan Atkins, Sexy Sadie, because we know that she was a member of the Church of Satan and she was working for Anton LaVey. Then we also have the church, according to them, Squeaky Fromm was also a fucking Scientologist as well.
Out of here. They were all Manson girls.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, man.
Yes. These people are Scientologists. There was a fucking P-scope found at Spawn Ranch during the raid. There are countless stories of individuals. I cannot remember the one celebrity. I think he was an actor and he was also a musician, and a lot of people would know him. I talked about him in a podcast episode, but he talks about it was in his house that Christopher Zero was murdered. And he was talking about, like, down on the ranch, he's like, it was Scientology games all day. All day. They were out there just auditing each other and, messing with the P-scope or the E-meter, whatever the hell you want to call it. The first place that Charlie goes when he gets out of McNeil, the Celebrity Center in LA that had just been opened and built, to ask what he was supposed to do next, because he went clear.
I got you. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. So Scientology, the process, Temple of Set, it's all, wow. I mean, I knew there was something there. I've probably talked about this before too. I knew that there was something there with, I'm trying to think of who you were talking about. The actor, musician, because there's a few of those that I'm probably going to bring up. Yeah, it makes sense to me that these people were working together. And the Church of Scientology, I remember when I was a kid just watching, like, when what's her name, Shelley Miscavige, like, went missing. Like, I don't know, that's like some weird shit, especially when you're not, I didn't know about any of the inner workings of it, or like what they taught, or who ran it, who started it. But as a kid, just hearing about it, you always got this real dark feeling, and now it all makes sense, and to know that the Church of Satan is also implicated with all these groups, it just kind of vindicates things for a lot of people, and
Yeah.
all this stuff is connected, and these people are, and that, you just blew my mind with talking about the Manson girls. That's fucking wild.
Well, I mean, at the root of it, and this is, I tell people, I'm not here to tell you what to believe, but, I've spent a lot of time putting this stuff together, and you cannot separate the process from Scientology, and the people that generally really want to make that delineation are process sympathizers. And so that's where I check out with them, because if you're not willing to make that delineation and you want to sit here and say that they're different, the fuck they are. Because even in the 70s, the process taught, so Scientology has those things, why you get audited, body thetans, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so these little spiritual things attached to you, these bad, creepy past life things, whatever. The process has the exact same thing. They're called Freddy bodies. They were still talking about this stuff in the 70s. Timothy Wiley talks about them still using the P-scope throughout this time. And Timothy Wiley is honest about it, about how the P-scope or E-meter, because it's the exact same thing, how it delivers very, very, very small electrical voltage while you're holding on to the cans. And so it is causing very serious changes to your brain physiologically over time. He sits there and jokes about it with another one of the founding processians. These things cannot be separated. And we heard from a lot of the biker gangs in regards to the Manson girls that there was, bestiality going on, and people say that a lot of this stuff is crazy rumors, but that lawsuit in the UK with Ed Sanders that Ed Sanders won, it came out there too that they were fucking dogs. Okay? So if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Okay? The process is going to process. It is what it is. They worship the animals, they sacrifice the animals, and they also have sex with the animals. I don't know why anybody's surprised.
And then they go and start fake animal shelters.
Correct.
You know?
That's it. Aesop Aquarian. That's the person that I was talking about.
Aesop Aquarian.
He talks about, it was his house where Christopher Zero, Jesus, was murdered while having sex with one of the girls from the family. And Bruce Davis most definitely did not pull the trigger. Did not pull the trigger.
Man, I was going to ask, do you want to explain for I'm kind of don't know myself, what is the P-scope?
Same thing as the E-meter. It's the exact same thing. So it's that little device, and one person's holding the cans on one side and the other person's with the knobs. Is the exact same thing. Okay.
So the process was using these things too.
Yeah, they just called it a P-scope.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Just rebranding it.
Yep.
That's crazy. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, and I'm sure all these groups were popping out these Manchurian candidates. Like you had Manson, you had David Berkowitz. What you had brought up, we were talking before the show, the Temple of Psychic Youth.
Yes.
What was that again?
So Temple of Psychic Youth is the Genesis Peorage Neo Process faction. This is Psychic TV. This is more the modern day iteration. I say modern, we're talking like 90s forward, because we have the old process doing their best friends thing in Utah. So they're running that front group. But then we have, the music scene being deep. I mean, they've always been in music.
Yeah.
I don't want to get it twisted, but the Process had a band called the Process Version. This was before they went public with the cult, where they said that the music was how they were going to indoctrinate people. And the band was pretty good. It's very 60s sort of rock. But, with Genesis herself and her fucking pedophile tattoo on the shoulder over there, it's the modern day where we see not only Psychic TV, we've got 9 Inch Nails, we've got Marilyn Manson, we've got this whole sort of, Skinny Puppy, all of these groups coming together. And I'm not saying that all of these groups are involved in this activity, but I mean, the Skinny Puppy, I think it's, Skinny Puppy has an album called like The Process.
Hey, I'm about to get into that with you here in a second. Yeah, this is Genesis Peorage guys doing the Osiris Risen, I believe.
Yeah.
So following the Osirian mysteries, in which they've bastardized that as well. The original meaning of a lot of the esoteric knowledge for what it originally was back in antiquity. They took it and subverted a lot of it and started their own religions with it and all that stuff, invoking the darkest of the deities. I mean, Aquino, when me and Jose did the episode a while back, it's when those files dropped on the Temple of Set, kind of explaining it. you know, he separated from the Church of Satan because they weren't, you know, they weren't practicing the rites that they weren't going hard enough, right? They were kind of the face of the satanic movement, you know?
Yeah.
My voice just cracked. But yeah, so hey, there's a band that it's been one of my favorite bands since I was a kid, Integrity. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know. Are you familiar with them?
I am.
They
Yeah.
are members of the Process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It literally comes up on their Wikipedia that all of their music is off of process theology,
Yeah.
process literature, and
It's all Gnostic. Yeah, it's very disappointing for me. At the same time, yeah, I looked and I saw Robert de Grimston's little treatise. What is it? Humanity is the Devil. That's my favorite Integrity album, and so it's just like, oh God. I mean, the singer's name is Dwid Hellion, so yeah, no, he
you
is a
gotta
strange character. He's all, you know, his music has always been, you know, his songs about Abraxas and the rebirth of Lucifer, and then yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's the energy that drew me to it when I was younger, you know, being a
well,
rebellious teen.
I feel like people should be allowed to enjoy things. Like
Right.
I enjoy Nine Inch Nails, but I'm also aware of what I'm listening to, you
So
know, and like with what is it? Like Funkadelic, they were heavily involved with the process. I'm sorry, Maggot Brain
George
slaps.
George
Clinton.
Clinton, right? Is that his
Yeah.
name? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Maggot Brain is one of the greatest albums of all time. It's okay. People are allowed to enjoy things, you know. But as long as you're being an educated listener and, you know, being aware of what you are taking in, then I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Like, don't let these people, yeah, like people can like
I
integrity.
love
Don't let
Integrity.
these people
Yeah.
ruin
Yeah.
everything because that takes away from the joy of life. You know, you're allowed to enjoy things and you shouldn't feel bad for it, but also don't throw a hissy fit if someone points
Right.
out that these groups
Like, you're
are either
invoking
members.
demons. It's like,
Yeah,
no,
it's like,
I don't.
well,
Yeah,
if I'm
it's a
pointing things
little
out, just let me point it out. It is what it is.
right. Well, it's like, you know, now I know not to buy that Integrity shirt because there is a Processian logo on the back of it, you know, and it's like, hey, that's something that you can that, like you said, you know, I think well, I was going to ask if you think that that make, you know, that obviously that makes it better, the intention behind it, right? That's kind of what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, understand that these people have intentions behind making the music, but also it's I believe that there's a part on your end of you being receptive to that message that they're trying to put out. And so if you're an educated listener and you say, "Hey, I just like the music." That's cool. There's no harm, no foul. I like the movie. No harm, no foul. Like, I mean, how long have I spent shitting on Roman Polanski because he's a pedophile? But I just watched Rosemary's Baby for the first
Rosemary's
time a
Baby fucks.
couple
Yeah.
months ago, and it was so good. I wasn't even mad. I was like, "This is an amazing movie."
The
Like,
Ninth Gate is a good movie
I haven't seen it, so don't
with
judge
Johnny
me.
Depp. You haven't seen it?
It's coming up on my Patreon. It's coming up, but
Girl, yo.
even Rosemary's Baby, like obviously watching it in hindsight after doing all this research, I was like, wow, there's so much foreshadowing in this, but also I can respect that it was a great movie, but that doesn't mean that he's not a pedophile.
Exactly. Doesn't mean that he shouldn't be taken out back and shot. Right.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
right in the wood chipper you go.
There you go. Dana has the right idea, guys. We have a Rumble rant. Let me share this screen. Mac, RGZ Mac. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you for the $5 donation, man. Appreciate that. Guys, if y'all have any questions or Dana, don't be shy to send it in a Rumble rant. You know, support the show. and all that good stuff. So, Dana, we were talking before the show, and you had mentioned that that you just had a viral tweet, that you had a tweet just go viral.
No, not viral. It's just gotten a lot more
Not viral.
attention than
Okay.
I anticipated.
Well, same thing. Here, let's pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up, and because you are talking
Definitely
about,
not viral, but I was just like, oh, there's accounts with like 500,000 subscribers sharing this.
There you go,
I started
Jacob.
really nervous.
Jacob gets it.
Yeah.
Shout out Rise to Liberty.
Yes, Rise. You're absolutely right.
The homie. Let's see. I'm gonna pull this up. Let me stop. Okay. StreamYard's great. Do you use StreamYard?
I use it for Patreon, but I use Restream for YouTube.
That sounds like what I'm probably about to start doing. Yeah. The Patreon shows it's really easy to control, and you have a smaller audience. So yeah, just figured I'd ask you. All right. Here we go. So,
That one.
This one. Anyone else find it odd that Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Ipsissimus? Wait, so that's his first name?
That's his Setian title.
That's his Setian title. Is there a meaning behind it? Do you know?
Whatever fake and gay reasoning he gave to it, that was his rank in the Temple of Set.
All right. Well, Dr. Ipsissimus Michael Aquino's co-author of From PSYOP to Mind War, The Psychology of Victory, Paul E. Valley, whatever, is an advisory council member of Turning Point USA. Just me? Okay. So please explain further, Dana. Because this is interesting, and I look, I wasn't a fan of Charlie, but that shouldn't happen to anybody, right? But like the stuff with his wife, and like, the people like running cover for certain agencies, and like, you just gotta, like, what are we doing if we're not asking questions, right?
Well, I won't give my full anointed take. So how did I get to this today? This was literally the first time that I've ever looked at Turning Point's advisory board, because Operation GCD had sent me a Scientologist that was on the advisory board. So I was like, hey, this is a good idea. I should look through this. And I started scrolling through, and in the first screenshot, it says Paul E. I think it's Valley. I don't know how to pronounce it properly. But I pulled it up and I was like, holy shit, is that the Mind War guy? And it is the Mind War guy. And that is the co-author of Mind War with Michael Aquino. And if you scroll down to the next post, I found the latest edition. I think it's the latest edition of Mind War that was published by Aquino. It's in the Wayback Machine. And in that, he dedicates to a list of people, including Paul Valley, but he also includes Paul Krasner, who I am the original host of the Paul Krasner Player Haters Ball, Dr. John C. Lilly, and the co-founder of one of Scientology's largest front groups, the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, one Dr. Thomas Cezanne. So there's some major fuckery going on with Turning Point, and I don't think that Candace is doing anything in exposing any of that. A lot of this has been because of Candace's shady bullshit. So,
yeah, let's take a look at what she said here.
It was, anyways, I think I was saved. And I look back and I think I was saved by this weird pull that I had to go to the UK. It was, now I realize, an unexpected anomaly. My husband, how I met him, this unplanned trip on nobody's calendar. Nobody was setting it up. I just like, Charlie, get a meeting with whoever, make anything happen. I need to be in the UK. I just think that like something good will happen if we go to the UK. And it's kind of beautiful that the person that Charlie reached out to and said, can you put together just any place for Candace and I to speak at, was John and Arena Mappin, the lone donors who wrote that beautiful letter that has impacted the world, like true friends of Charlie, who stood up and said that what Turning Point USA is doing is wrong. So yeah, we had an event, and obviously I first laid eyes on my husband, and I have told you guys the truth. I looked at him and everyone's like, why'd you get engaged after 18 days? I have never, it's inexplicable. I looked at him and I felt like I had already known him, and it felt exactly like seeing a sigh of relief. Like it felt like a sigh of relief. I was like, I need to go with him.
I'm on mute. There we go. Who's John Mappin?
The only known Scientologist in Epstein's Little Black Book, who was a very close friend of Charlie Kirk and who introduced Candace to her husband, who also funded the setting up of Turning Point UK. He's also one of Trump's largest Scientology donors, who owns King Arthur's castle, who flies a QAnon flag on that castle, and that castle also operates not only as a hotel, but the Citizens Commission on Human Rights that I mentioned, it also operates as a recruiting center for that group, for the Church of Scientology.
Well, we'll be taking that castle back one day. Long live the king. I'm a big fan of the Grail Kings and then the quest, the Order of the Quest, all that stuff. Anyway, that's something right there. And I said this recently. It's real funny now how like Candace has become like this real like schizo conspiracy head. I mean, do you think she's doing the movement justice, or do you think she's like ostracizing and like trying to point away from certain things, trying to run cover? What do you think?
Well, in my opinion, I think that Mappin is her handler. He pushes her work constantly, and she will not address the fact that he was in Epstein's Black Book. That's obviously a very inconvenient fact. They actually struck that video from my YouTube channel using the timestamp of showing Mappin in Epstein's Black Book, saying that I was harassing Candace. It's been removed from my fucking channel. So fuck you, candy ass Candace. That's what I have to say about that. I think that in particular, she won't talk about that angle, which I think is very sus, because people like to just, kind of shy away from Scientology for one reason or another. And I'm like, why? It's a common thread here, and Mappin is technically in this situation the most common thread, because he's the one that set up Turning Point UK. He's the one that introduced her to George Farmer. He's connected to the royal family. Farmer's connected to the House of Lords. Obviously, Farmer owns Parler. That's all very sus, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, is she doing credit to it or not? I don't know. I don't really watch her. I just watch clips, and after the response that I've gotten, because her fans are freaking feral, I didn't realize that she did a lot of trust me bro on certain things, and I think it's odd. I can't prove it, but in my opinion, I think it's weird that I put out the stuff about Rob McCoy's grandfather working for naval intelligence and psychological warfare. I put that out a week before Candace brought it up. Do I think it's weird? Can I prove that she jacked it from me? I don't know. Some people have said that she did.
My discernment's telling me that she's watching you.
Well, I mean, I definitely think that she's watching me, because I mean, the stuff has gotten, they got my damn video taken down. And so it's like she's jumping from thing to thing, and this is me watching clips and then reading people's comments, because I think that a good way to gauge what someone is doing is to obviously like read the feedback, right? Don't assume that the audience is uneducated. Obviously, there's going to be people that are just total simps one way or the other, but I've seen a lot of people say, she promises that this is going to be the thing that changes it all, and she's going to have all the receipts, and then she dangles that carrot and moves on to the next thing. Because my initial issue, besides the mapping thing, was with Rob McCoy and Turning Point, and again, she didn't talk about this until weeks after I had brought it up, was the Seven Mountain Mandate angle. Because the Seven Mountain Mandate is fake Christianity. It's just false Christianity. This new apostolic reformation, that whole movement that Rob McCoy is a part of, that he got Charlie into, that's something that she wasn't addressing and still has not addressed. And when you look into her past and into her family, because with the process, like with DeGrimston specifically, that's where I really cut my teeth with getting into genealogy. And so I've done a full genealogy of Candace, and I'll be going through all of that next week. You know, she's lied about a lot of things in her past, but she hasn't lied about all of it, which is smart, because you want to leave some truth, you know, peppered in with mixing up of timelines or people. But she's lied about a lot of things, and you have to ask yourself why she's misrepresented these things, especially the relationship with her father. I think that that's very odd. And her rise is not organic. It's just not organic.
It's not.
And I'm sorry, people think that I'm hating on people who are successful. I think that people should be successful. I know that, you know, we're all out here working hard, trying to get information out here, right? And obviously there's a lot of grifters and a lot of con artists out here, but you don't have millions of followers and millions of subscribers pulling in money like that and get to say that you're being censored or that people are trying to silence you. Get the fuck out of here, because Candace has millions of subscribers. I have 6,000, and she struck my video. My video is gone, showing something that is documented proof in a document that's on the DOJ website that has been public for years, Epstein's Black Book. Like, why are you guys shitting on the little people, man? You know, she wants to act like she's persecuted. She's not. I'm sorry. She's jumped. She's jumped from it's Israel to it's Turning Point to it's the Mormons. But there's a lot of Scientologists that are involved in Turning Point USA. She hasn't talked about that. And she's been sitting here harping on the Turning Point thing for a long time. That's the first time that I looked at the Turning Point board was today. And I immediately found that Aquino connection. Did she omit that on purpose? Don't know. I guess we'll find out if she talks about it in the next week or so.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You know, I don't know. It was just weird to me when, like, I heard her start kind of talking about Crowley and stuff. And I was like, well, wait a minute. But she wasn't really even touching on anything that's like informative that people would benefit to learn. It was more just like fear porn. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, I get it. The normie hears that and they go, you know, I hope that they would go and look it up, but most of the time they don't. They just will watch the TikTok video or whatever is presented to them because they trust these people. And then I don't know why, you know, because, and then when you look at people like Fuentes too, you know, he says he's censored. And it's like, dude, you're in your early 20s, multimillionaire. I mean, you may be gay. I don't know. That's cool. But, you know, you come out and say it. But, you know, it's just like, and I'm pretty sure they were like trained at the same place. Like they were kind of groomed at the same Republican, I don't know, some young Republicans kind of program or something for influencers. I'm pretty sure. Should know the name of the place. That'd probably help. But and they're kind of propping him up right now as like this Satan figure in the news, you know?
Well, you want to sit there and say that like you're censored or that you're oppressed, but the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, is talking about Nick Fuentes on TV. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. Like, miss me with it. You guys are not censored. You guys have, we don't even know all the financial conduits that come in through these groups, right? But these people have these sort of public, I say that they're public fights. They're for public consumption. Like, oh, Candace, leaves the Daily Wire and, whatever. And I'm not saying that people can't change their minds or come to an understanding about, Zionism or Christian nationalism or things like that. I believe that people should change as they learn new information. Like, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to learn and grow. But it's, what is she really out here talking about? Because, yeah, I saw that clip where she was talking about, like, the lizard people and Crowley. And it's like, Crowley's not the boogeyman. He's not hiding under every rock. You're not really adding anything to the conversation and context. You're just sitting here kind of rambling off all of these talking points. And I don't know if you're trying to almost make yourself look crazy. I don't think that you look crazy, but like normies would think that you're looking crazy, jumping all over all of these topics. Like, are you
Right.
low-key trying to do that to deceive a certain amount of people
Yes.
while other people are thinking that, like, oh yeah, she's out here talking about that stuff? It's like, come on, man.
Right. Because there was no build up to her research of this stuff.
Yeah.
It was kind of just overnight. She's
Yeah.
talking about it and going like here and there. It's like, no, how about you learn to understand who these people were, read their,
Yeah.
read, what they were about, the gods that they venerated, the demons that they talked to, I don't know. It's just, it seems just kind of like she's, it's like some, real, lukewarm version of something, just some kind of, I don't know, slop almost. I don't want to say that because obviously she's a good content creator, but like you said, it's not authentic, it's not organic. So yeah, no, I think we'll probably figure out more. I'm going to be watching your show this next week, I guess, because you've piqued my interest in this. Now, I was already weirded out, like I had mentioned earlier, with the Erica Kirk thing with her parents and just the weird vibe that I'm getting from her when I was a kid, I actually acted for 10 years. So you never know, guys. I could be some Mossad agent. I'm just kidding. I'm not a Fed.
I didn't
Promise
know.
I'm not a Fed, Dana. But
Sounds like something a Fed would say. Just kidding.
Definitely. I can tell when people are putting on a show, especially when it's shit, when it's bad, when it's shitty acting. Look, I know people grieve differently, but wasn't his funeral or memorial at like a fucking wrestling event?
Well, look, in the last stream where I talked about, the first stream that I talked about this Kirk stuff, I said the exact same thing. I'm an ICU nurse. I'm around death all the time. I've seen wild reactions that, at first would seem incredibly inappropriate, right? But people's bodies react differently to things. But when you see this over time and you don't see any other signs or indications of somebody possibly being medicated, because hey, if this shit was going on with me, I'd probably need a fucking Xanax, right? Like, I would be stressed out. So I was trying to keep that in mind and just sort of go into my nurse brain. But then there's just things that it's, in my personal opinion, an indication that maybe she already went through the stages of grief. If Charlie is dead. And that I still am not completely sold on either, because it's like, sorry, his neck wasn't made of steel. So I don't really know. I don't really know what's going on with Erica. And, obviously Erica's family, we know that Turning Point, their headquarters is in Arizona. She's a DOD family. They're all in Arizona. And you guys will find out next week that Candace has a lot of connections that predate Erica and Charlie meeting that are in Arizona, and I wonder if that has something to do with it. I can't prove it one way or the other, but I'm certainly going to put it out there and ask the question, because she's lied about a lot of her family and where they are, and I think that might be for a reason. And yeah, like, Cash doing the whole like I'll see you in Valhalla, brother. It's like, well,
Right.
is Cash an Odinist? Because like low key that also makes
Yeah.
sense. But then also it's like, are you guys pulling? And this was something that I won't say the word on here because this is your channel.
No, hey, I mean,
A handy snook. Is this a handy snook type sitch? And
right.
hey Candace, why don't you talk about that? That's your home state where you grew up. You want to talk about like missing death certificates and missing bodies and all that stuff. Like,
That's
it's why
great rabbit hole for that. Yeah.
yeah, why don't you talk about that, girl? Do some real research, dig in, because my thing is with that situation in particular, the Baha'i leaders came to Newtown with Obama, did a huge like thing for the holidays, but it was the top leaders in Baha'i where, they're coming on stage and talking about we all have to come together and unite. And it's very much this whole thing that she's talking about. It's the same thing, Christian Zionism. It's just a different flavor. And it's like, these things have similarities and they have parallels, except for one is in the place that you grew up and you were raised in, and the other one is obviously, Utah, but then we have it coming into Arizona and his weird ritual memorial that happened on TV. Because I'm fully convinced, I don't care, it sounds crazy. When I saw like the opening of it, I was like, nope, they're trying to harvest my energy, my loosh, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not messing with this. I'm good. Because it did look like a wrestling event or like a Kiss concert. And it's like, put it in the context of the Don. The Don's there. What is the Don closely associated with? Wrestling. Okay, these people are actors.
He's an actor. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not
He
saying
was an
like
actor
Q
long before
level.
he was a politician.
Yeah, I'm not saying go full Q where like everybody's a body double and people are being, executed at Guantanamo Bay. I don't think that that's happening.
Right.
But I do think that if Charlie is dead or if he's not, the Seven Mountain Mandate, they've still completely swung so much of the country in one way, and in particular, the youth, because of this. It's caused so much division, but also so many people have swung one way, and it's become just this huge nexus where everybody's just talking about it, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm talking about it because I think the mapping stuff is freaking weird and the Seven Mountain Mandate stuff is freaking weird because that's what Jim Jones was trained in, okay? Like, this isn't going to end well, guys, if this all goes through, okay? It's not going to end well.
Yeah.
It's just, I think that it was done the way that it was done for a reason. I'm not claiming to know what that reason is, but I think that we can all acknowledge that Erica is behaving very strangely, and I don't think that Candace has really done any favors at this point, and this is not me simping for fucking Israel, so miss me with it, because I've had people, that's the go-to argument. Did you get paid 7,000 shekels for speaking out about Candace, or why are you... No. Miss me with it. I can still criticize her because she's omitting the person that everybody assumes was primarily a Mossad agent when there's a much stronger argument that he was a CIA agent, Jeffrey Epstein. She's omitting that the man that introduced her to her husband was friends with him. Okay? Yeah. So miss me with that.
That's good. I'm sure you've done some, shows criticizing Israel or whatever, or talking about, the stuff that they're implicated in as well, with the end times prophecies of the rabbis and their yeshiva classes. And have you seen those videos?
Well, I mean, they're talking about how Trump is Cyrus the Great.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, guys. But like, these things are not separate. It's the Seven Mountain Mandate, Christian Zionism, this Baha'i, whatever it is, it's all the same concept in the end. It's all bringing it into one thing. It's all bringing heaven onto earth,
They're trying to bring God down here.
Correct. Yeah. It's why do we have all of these, Nazi pedophiles, right? Like let's bring it back to World War II with all the Nazi pedophiles, right? Like what have they been trying to do? They've been trying to break the firmament to get to heaven, whether you believe in heaven or not, I don't care. They're trying to break the firmament, right? And then they're trying to bring all of this to earth because they believe that they have the justification legally to dominate the earth, to dominate politics, red heifer rituals, all of that stuff. That dude was on Tim Pool not that long ago.
Adam King
Yeah.
bragging about the ashes and how we've already cured someone who couldn't
Yes.
walk, but it's only for us. It's only
Yes.
for a select
We
few.
made someone who was blind that can now see with these ashes. You know, someone who was
Right,
paralyzed can
right.
walk again. And it's like, guys, these rituals are ancient. This is magic. It is
Yeah.
what it is. It's magic. It's ancient. It's not anything new. It may be new to you, and that's why you can't accept it, or you refuse to accept it or understand it. But we're just seeing the modern day iteration because what did they say right after World War II with the foundation of UNESCO? What do they want? They want a new world order. That's not a conspiracy theory, but it is a conspiracy. Everything is going to be one. So, one religion. That's what these people are trying to do. And this is another one of the issues that I have with people like John Mappin, because John Mappin says that Candace helped him become a better Christian Scientologist by teaching him about Catholicism. There's no such thing as a Christian Scientologist. That's not real. That's not a thing. But they want you to believe that you can have both. How can you be a Christian but think that Xenu is going to come back and save you and that you have all these millions of past lives? Like, these things don't comport, and they're trying to trick you into believing that they do. And that's why I say the stuff with the 7 Mountain Mandate, that Candace should have been attacking that from the jump. And she wasn't, because everybody wanted to point to Israel. Everybody wanted to do that. I think that Benny Netanyahu, I think that he played his part in this whole charade by immediately coming out and going, "We didn't do it. I swear, we didn't do it." And it's like, why would the leader of a foreign nation come out on TV and insist that they had nothing to do with it? I think that he was playing his part. That's all. Because guess what? He's an actor too.
Absolutely. He is. Zelensky is. And you know, oh, hey, yeah, Dave, what I meant by that was like the production quality and the studio, and not her content shit, but yeah. But no, that's just something that I've noticed lately, is just this thing that's like, and you have Netanyahu walking around reading this book and someone asking him what it is. And he's like, oh, well, it talks about, I think the book was called like The Strong Hand or something. And it talks about, Rome. He starts talking about Rome and how, we lost that war, but we can't lose the next one. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Y'all are insane.
Mappin is saying
death cult.
Mappin is saying that Charlie was the only person that was stopping World War III. And if we don't get the truth out about who killed Charlie, that World War III is going to happen. Like, there is such a thing as a Zionist Scientologist, not a Christian Scientologist, but there's definitely Zionist Scientologist. And, but nobody wants to talk about the Scientology angle, and everybody calls me paranoid and crazy for pointing out the Scientology ties. And it's because it's a major sin of omission.
Well, and then they talk about how the world will end. These ancient prophecies speak of the world ending in 12 seconds. And so the rabbis equate that to like an atomic bomb, basically. And it's like, these are y'all like, are these self-fulfilling prophecies? Like what's going on here? What are y'all trying to do? Are they trying to, conjure up things? And I mean, obviously, Kabbalah magic is very real as well, and they practice that openly.
Yeah,
they talk about the Zohar, they talk about all that stuff, and how and it just blows my mind how people, I don't know, just can't look at it and see that there's something wrong. It's like, even Christians, it's like, what did Christ say? Judge them by the fruits. Like, these fruits are pretty fucking rotten.
Thank you. Correct.
Correct. Rotting fruits.
Correct. It's the fruit of the rotten tree. And also it's, and I'm not saying I don't try to push my beliefs on anybody else, but if you are a believer, then you understand that the most damning passage in the Bible, Jesus says that there is a wide gate and a narrow gate. There's going to be a lot of people that say that they believe in Jesus, and there's going to be a very small amount who actually understand their beliefs and who are the people that will go through the gate. And he says, "You call my name, you say that you knew me, but you never knew me. Turn away from me." That's the most damning passage in that entire book. And again, people don't understand that with groups like Turning Point, this whole Seven Mountain Mandate thing, this idea of, Christian nationalism, it's like, that's not biblical at all.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
people say that Charlie was, this constitutionalist and he believed in separation of church and state. No, he didn't. He literally said that there was no separation of church and state. Now, I'm not denying that Rob McCoy influenced him into this belief system of having to conquer these 7 mountains, these 7 pillars within the world: education, government, culture, all of those things. I'm not denying that, but ultimately that is what these people believe, and this is antithetical. They are trying to bring that down here to rule the earth. If you actually understand your Bible and read it, earth is not our home. And thank God, because I don't want to be here forever. I'm Gucci. I'm good. And I also don't want to be reincarnated here, okay? It's a real hellscape down here. I'll pass. But, people are entitled to what they want to believe. I'm just saying people should understand what they're claiming to believe and also challenge these individuals like Candace, like Turning Point, like Mappin. Nobody claps back at Mappin about this Christian Scientologist thing. And when I did, he ended up deleting the fucking tweet.
Wow. These people are on you. They're on to you, Dana. Yeah, when I thought about that with Candace, I'm like, she believes that Israel, let's say it, I guess, took him out, and it's like, because he was going towards talking about this and that. And it's like, yeah, maybe. Or was it just another one of these like king kill rituals? Like, like this thing that they do on a mass scale that the trauma that hits the population, they thrive off that. They feed off that, right? They've been doing this for thousands of years. It's nothing new, like you said.
Correct.
Even taking the grass where the blood was, right, to perform a ritual, some kind of ritual with it, I'm sure. But let's see how you guys are going. Sorry, I haven't been keeping up with the chat, guys. We've been cooking over here.
It's the same thing with Handy Snook. It's the same thing with that. I mean, that was psychological trauma of a mass scale on the country, and they gaslit everybody about all of that. They're still gaslighting people about that. Same thing with Mandalay Bay. It's how many of these events that they vary in the architecture of what they are, but ultimately the goal is the same. It's to traumatize the public. And when you're watching someone who is a young father, right, I don't care about what he believed, what he talked about. Let's set all of that aside and just look at a person. If he is dead, he was brutally murdered in front of the entire world. That's traumatizing to a lot of people, especially because he did have a big fan base. I can empathize with a young man who has children and feel empathy and sympathy for his children. That's a tragedy. That's tragic in and of itself. You can feel those things if he's dead, but you're right. It's, why were they calling him the right's new kingmaker? There were multiple people, Megyn Kelly, all these other pundits, who credited Charlie with getting Trump elected because he was able to swing states that they did not think were going to go red for Trump. They were calling him the kingmaker. I think that Charlie was groomed for this role, and I think that he served his purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he's still alive or not remains to be seen. I'm very curious about this trial that's going to go underway with this alleged shooter and the tomfoolery with not wanting cameras in the room, because Erica did that interview and it was the defense that didn't want the cameras, but then you actually look into it and the state doesn't want, the prosecution doesn't want cameras in the room either. And so
Right.
that begs a lot of questions. So we're just supposed to accept that the Don had 2 attempts, one that just happened to nick him in the ear. Everybody saw that, right? And I was like, this is it. This is his Jesus moment where people were going to, messianize him. We had that happen. We're supposed to accept that and then turn around and accept what we saw happen with Charlie. But we're not going to have any cameras in the courtroom. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing, they're probably reading her body language as well. There was that one interview where she's sitting there and she's constantly like wiping the same eye. And it's like, I don't know, there's no tear there.
Correct.
And it's just like, I don't know. It's kind of like, is it a tick, or is it some kind of signaling? Is it some kind of MK Ultra programming?
I think she's trying her best to look like she's trying to keep her composure and not mess up her mascara by crying. But girl, you're not putting out any tears. Put a little bit of hot sauce at the tip of that napkin and start getting some water generating through
Instead,
those
we need
tear
some better
ducts.
acting. Yes.
Something,
yes.
man. I mean, she's not even trying. And
Better acting and better psyops. That's
yes,
exactly what
we
need.
deserve better psyops.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So is the process, so the process is connected to Turning Point then through mapping.
Scientology
more or
is
less.
the process, and the process is Scientology. Well, here's an even better argument for this. So Candace recently, it's actually in that same stream that I cut the video from, she talks about how, her and Charlie had handlers, and she talks about how Rick Rubin was sent in to be her handler, and she kind of figured it out, right? And, but Rick Rubin was trying to get involved with Turning Point and what they were doing. Process Rick Rubin, Genesis Peorage's friend Rick Rubin, like the exact same Rick Rubin, right? And when that didn't work, because Candace saw through that, who did they send in? The corporate process, which is Scientology, which is John Mappin. That's who they sent in and hooked her up with her husband.
Rick Rubin, man, that's a powerful wizard. He is, I think, a very high wizard of his order.
Yep.
Yeah, when you're around for that long and you're putting that much of that energy and, God knows what he's doing to those records,
Oh, yeah.
But, hey, so I should have asked you this earlier. The symbol for the Process Church, I've never asked, what does it mean? Do you know?
I mean, there's so many different definitions, and they say that, oh, well, we were architects, and, we just like these straight lines, and we didn't realize that it was going to look like a swastika. We were very surprised when people accused us of it looking like a swastika. There's actually, I don't have it on here, it's on an external drive, but there's an entire file where one of the founders breaks down all of the various iterations of the Process logo, and the 4P logo, the Topi cross, all the different ways, all the different meanings behind them. There is a lot of esoteric meaning behind it.
Okay.
But I do think that ultimately it's, it's the 4 gods. It's the great gods. It's Lucifer, Satan, Jehovah, and Christ. Lucifer, Satan, Jehovah, and Christ. Yeah.
They venerate those 4 gods?
Those are their 4 gods. Yeah. They claim that they whittled it down to Jehovah, but I don't believe them because there's no actual proof of that. But when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, if you're starting this new cult, because there's the process up top and then Church of the Final Judgment at the bottom. And they went by both of those names. So when you're looking for them in the newspapers, it's super fun. You can imagine how many results you get under just the process, right?
Yeah.
But with these four deities, they were able to infiltrate numerous movements, including the Jesus Freak movement, the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're deeply embedded in the Jehovah's Witnesses in Canada. They're in the Billy Graham revival tent circuit. You know, it's when you have all these gods, you're able to mix and match, and nobody's the wiser.
Yeah, I mean, you get into Jehovah's Witnesses, you talk about a whole new different family, the Russell bloodline, you know, Charles Taze Russell, who was a devout Satanist, you know, back in the day, way back in the day. Well, I know we're getting closer to the end of the show. So you have coming up, you said you're doing a breakdown on the Candace genealogy.
Yeah, I mean, she's young, you know, so it's kind of hard to go back too far, but I have found her grandparents, great grandparents, and it's fascinating on her grandma's side. They're Navy and Pfizer, lots of Pfizer connections, like high ranking jobs within Pfizer. So, and the story that she tells about her grandfather retiring in North Carolina, lie. Well, it's a partial lie. It's a half truth. But I've found them, and you know, I have questions about why she's misrepresented the relationship with her father, basically making it sound like her father abandoned her family. I have court records that show that that is not the fucking case, unless one of the adults in her life was lying to the court when they filed this lawsuit. But I want to be able to break it all down, and then, you know, it's a topic that I was planning to return to anyway, because I've, you know, already done one stream about Turning Point, really focusing on mapping and showing that there's no excuse for people to poo-poo or ignore the Scientology angle and the very clear Scientology money that was going into Turning Point UK, because it's all very well documented. And then I want to get into a bit more of the Seven Mountain Mandate stuff, and I also want to show people the stuff with Sandy Hook, with the Baha'i, to show the similarities to the Seven Mountain Mandate, to Christian Zionism, these things that, you know, everybody else wants to sit there and, you know, point to Israel. And it's like, guys, you're taking away the weight of the argument when you're blaming everything on fucking Israel. It's become a joke at this point. Like, seriously.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it was important at first to, you know, get that message out there and kind of expose what was happening. But yeah, you have these people grifting off of it now. And it's yeah. Because I mean, I had William Ramsey on, and he talked about how, you know, the Knights of Malta are just as complicit. You know what I mean?
That's
all
what I'm
these Templar
saying.
Groups. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, don't get me wrong. There was a time where if you said anything negative about, you can judge a nation's government without judging the people that live there. You can judge, like, the power structure of a group without judging, you know, believers. You can criticize things, and it doesn't have to be this emotional war, because that's what these people do. It's not an intellectual conversation, it's an emotional conversation. And of course, like, people would sit there and call you an anti-Semite if you said anything. And then we had this huge swing in the other direction, where now everybody's blaming everything on Israel. And it's almost like, oh, like, it's a badge of honor if you're calling it out. And it's like, is it
Dana,
though, guys?
I think it's forced, because it gives these rabbis something to say, you know, oh, we're hated, you know, these people were, yeah, it gives them
It's the
something
dialectic, man. It's the dialectic. That's all it is.
Feeds right into it. I wanted to bring this up before we do plugs and get out of here in a minute. Let's see. Somebody said that it looks a lot like the Google Chrome. I have this little diagram I wanted to bring up. You've probably seen it a million times, but let's see. Yeah. I mean, there's 4, but I mean, yeah, it could definitely be model. You got the Lucius Trust. Yeah.
You could pull it in there. It's
Yeah, you
very,
definitely
it's
could.
similar,
I think
I
you
mean,
could
they
definitely.
pull in that extra one, but I think that it's, because of the four deities, and then we have the 4 pi movement or the 4P, whatever people want to call it, that cult absolutely exists. And then there's the Neo process.
The Neo process.
Yeah, that's the process of now, which one of the processians that was stalking me, threatening violence, sexual violence against me, got in trouble with one of the founding members' children out in Utah at Best Friends, and was dumb enough to post the conversation that was had in their Facebook messages, where the person instructed them, do not talk about Dana, do not bring her up, do not post about her ever again. If we see you do it again, you're going to be banned from this group. And they said, are you part of the process or the Neo process? And they said, it doesn't matter, do not do it again. And I said, well, there we go, there's the acknowledgement that the Neo process does exist. But the Neo process also exists through someone named JJ Bryan, who is now dead, who had something called the Vector Gallery in New York. It's blatantly processy, and he is very, very shady. He has ties to Henry Kissinger. Like I said, he's dead. He died very young, suspicious death. But he was kind of the Neo process Robert de Grimston with his very own Hecate, with his very own Lady Hecate, which was another name that Marianne de Grimston went by. And she has taken over as the oracle of the Neo process, and she's just like the rest of them. You utter her name, she comes out and starts threatening lawsuits, all kinds of stuff like that.
She embodied Hecate. Or
Yes.
she wow, that makes so much sense.
Doesn't it?
What about Robert? What did he have a certain entity that he?
No, not in particular. Now, don't get me wrong. The public narrative is, Marianne was this wicked woman, apparently with some, golden, gorilla grip moose knuckle, if you know what I'm saying, the way that she like
Yeah, that
controlled the
grippy.
group. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't buy any of that. I think that it's garbage, and I think that it's to take away from the intelligence connections, the royal bloodline connections of the other founders, including Robert himself. She stylized herself not only as a reincarnation of Goebbels, but she also stylized herself as Hecate, which obviously the Hellhounds, that makes total sense.
Mhm.
And one of the older members, who I think he's still alive, he was involved in gang stalking Ed Sanders while Ed Sanders was writing The Family. They said that when Katrina happened and Best Friends was out there trying to rescue dogs, that they were stepping over the bodies of people to rescue these dogs and saying long live Hecate, that it was a ritual. This tracks with their founding documents, that because they were founded in New Orleans and they were incorporated by Tommy Jude Baumler, the wandering bishop involved in the JFK investigation. So in those documents, it says specifically that if a founder dies, all the members from all 4 corners of the United States have to come together to New Orleans and perform a ritual. This was around the time of Katrina. Allegedly, Marianne was mauled to death on the Best Friends property by Michael Vick's dogs. How true that is or not, I don't really know. It seems to be kind of common knowledge. It seems to be common knowledge among like processians. They kind of joke about it, that it was her karma. But
why
they
Michael Vick? Is he just because he likes dog fighting?
Well, they took in Michael Vick's dogs.
So he's probably in the process too, or
well, they say that they're
maybe he's not blind to it.
They say that
maybe
they're
he is.
rescuing dogs, but there's a lot of lawsuits out there for these violent dogs who should not be around elderly people or around children. And I mean, there's photos of children that are mauled and old people that are mauled, and they pay for these people's silence. Like, Best Friends has a pretty bad reputation, and they've been busted flying back and forth, specifically to Israel, moving dogs for these dog fighting rings. It's very strange.
Are they making like Manchurian candidate dogs?
They
MK
took
Ultra dogs?
so
Oh man.
the main reference that I would point to that's semi-recent was probably 8 or 9 years ago. There was a group of dogs that this couple, they had trained to sexually assault violently these women that they were kidnapping. And obviously the state, the county wanted to put them down. Best Friends intervened to save these rapist dogs. What did they do with those dogs? No one really knows.
Rapist dogs. It's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I got one more small question. Electric Wizard, process or no?
Don't know enough, so I won't say.
Okay. I just, you see the font on all their albums and it's very processy and it's very, it has that vibe.
If you
figured
see
I'd
it,
ask.
I mean, hey, I'll set it. I'll
I
set it
don't
in the
wanna
back
say,
of the
yeah, I love
Rolodex to
Electric
come
Wizard.
back to.
Okay. Well, Dana, this was you got to come back on because there's a
Sure.
whole aspect that we didn't talk, like the spiritual aspect to the Process Church. I'd love to talk about that with you.
Yeah.
More the occult angle
Yeah.
than the political stuff. So let people know where they can find you, and if plug anything that you got coming up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Rotting Jewels, YouTube, like I said, What is the Process podcast? I'm putting out, it should be out tonight. It was on Patreon, but it should come out tonight. My next episode, Operation Chaos, aka I joined the Finders and all I got was this Comet Ping Pong pizza shirt. That should be out later this evening. And my next stream will be about the whole Charlie Kirk, tomfoolery, all of that nonsense with Candace and her genealogy. So we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, we'll have to look out for that. I'll definitely be keeping in touch with you, to say the least.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, hope y'all are happy this week. I've done like 9 shows this week. It's going to end up being that. I think tomorrow night we're doing Rustic Gods, me and Headless Giant. So yeah, y'all, I'll keep y'all updated on that. Saturday morning, Esoteric Book Review, Subliminal Messenger, Season of the Rat. We are doing Enuma Elish. We spun the wheel and the wheel answered. And so we're going to read that. We're going back to a Hall treatise the week after. I'm forcing it. I'm forcing the hand. We're going back to the adepts and the Western esoteric traditions so we can talk about Taliesin and King Arthur and Merlin and all that fun stuff. And so, yeah. And Saturday night, Paranoid American podcast, guys. 4:30, I think. I hope maybe 4:30. Maybe I'll keep y'all updated on that. And then I may have another show that somebody else may have booked with me this weekend. I don't know. Got a lot of stuff coming up for late November, early December. So y'all just stay tuned and keep a lookout. Go follow me over on Twitter. There was a lot of people that liked my post earlier. I'm guessing they're your people, Dana. Y'all go follow me, guys, if you want to. Greypilled Pod on Twitter, Greypilled_podcast on Instagram. I post over there sometimes. Rumble, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Go leave me good reviews. I get mixed reviews sometimes. There's people that have controversy with some things I say, but that is okay. But yeah, patreon.com/greypilledpodcast. If you want to support the show, if you're a Rumble person, you can do locals. I try to post the streams over there. We do a lot of stuff on Patreon. There's a whole exclusive catalog of content over there, basically. So I got a bunch of tiers on there, and it's a great way to support the show, support what I'm doing on Greypilled. It's a one-man show, so maybe not for long though. I don't know. We'll see. Got some stuff in the works, guys. I'm sending sticker packs out this week. Egregore Observation, Tara, Trey, and Ass Cream. I'm sending yours out too, man. Love my audience, Dana. But yeah, guys, thank y'all again for coming and hanging out with us. This was a great episode. I hope y'all have a great Friday tomorrow. And oh yeah, you go to paranoidamerican.com/discount/greypilled for 15% off your purchase. And I will see y'all later. Stay Greypilled, guys. Peace.
American stickers, cryptids, cults, and killers. Seek out all your favorite conspiracies. All the land and more on a sticker sheets. Paranoid American stickers, they'll make you smile and snicker. False flags and secret societies. All of these and more on a sticker sheets.
Explore the unique with Paranoid American sticker sheets. Unearth tales of cryptids, cults, and mysteries through each sticker. These won't last long. Get yours now at paranoidamerican.com.
We're all American stickers, cryptids, cults, and killers. Seek out all your favorite conspiracies. All of that and more on our sticker sheets. Paranoid American stickers, they'll make you smile and snicker. False flags and secret society. All of these and more on our sticker sheets.
What the heck are you waiting for? Discover the extraordinary with Paranoid American sticker sheets. From cryptids in the night to cults out of sight, each sticker is a unique find. Get yours now at paranoidamerican.com.